Shalom, shalom, yam, shalom. First and foremost, I want to say call halal, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Wadash. Send double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. I want to send much peace, love, and salutations to you, brothers and sisters out there pushing the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, in sincerity and in truth. It's Ariala, and man, I just been just listening to different podcasts, Glenn Beck, different things brothers been sending into the chats, and it made me, just kind of think about geopolitics, geoeconomics that's going on. Right now you got the riots going on in France because of the pension systems. Everybody's talking about the failing banks and everything like that. And one of the main things that's kind of circulating right now, I saw Apostle Tahar post basically a clip of them talking about I believe it was called Operation Sandman, talking about how these nations are going to all at once basically stop dealing with the petrodollar. And one of the things that I like to talk about is how just understanding the petrodollar and its power, and understanding that nations understanding that these nations, they cannot get out of the petrodollar. You know what I'm saying? Without absolutely destroying their own economies, including China, and that in order for them to get out of the petrodollar as a coordinated effort, they will all have to agree that their economies are going to be destroyed at once, and make a move on that. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to understand this. All right, China and the United States are in a trade deficit, meaning the United States buys way, way, way more from China than China buys from the United States. And the reason why the United States is able to do that is because of the strength of the dollar, and because of how cheap the Chinese yuan is. The number one purchaser of Chinese goods is the United States of America. And the United States, the US dollar is very, very important for China to be able to be basically the Walmart of the earth, where everybody can get cheap goods, because the Chinese yuan is relatively cheap compared to the dollar, because everything's priced in dollars. That makes Chinese goods and services cheap for all the other nations to buy from China. Cheap. Okay. Now let's say this. Let's say, okay, the BRICS nations, they come together and they say we don't want no more USD. We gonna lift up our currencies and make them the reserve currencies for trade. What is that gonna do? That's gonna drop the United States dollar power, and it's gonna increase these other currencies that are being used in the market. This is going to make the buying power for the United States go down rapidly. And a lot of these other nations live off of United States and Western consumerism. So basically, you're going to rapidly decrease the consumerism of the West, meaning you're selling such and such aluminum, iron ore, or if you want to talk about China, you were selling all these T-shirts and cups and toys, and now those things are not being sold anymore. Why? Because the power of the dollar, and would also affect the European currencies, would drop dramatically, and also the prices of Chinese goods would go up dramatically. So basically, them getting rid of the United States dollar overnight would completely decouple the banking systems all around the world, and it will ruin their economies at the same time. That's why when you read in the book of Second Ezra, I want to say it's Second Ezra 15, it might be 16. My brother can find it and post it. It talks about how Asia was a partaker with Babylon. So everybody's drank of their cup and gone in agreement with the Western power and economic structure. So if they want to get out of that, they're going to have to, with one consent, understand that all of their economies will be destroyed overnight in order to do that. This is how you know that the banks, which control the United States, which control Europe, which control Russia, which control China, are dictating the fiscal policy, the monetary policy, and the political policies. They bend them to their will. That's why we don't call it a collapse. It's a controlled demolition of the dollar hegemon. And once you do that, you create absolute chaos, fear, mayhem, and destruction, which is what, these people, they like it talks about in the book of Psalms, the 64th chapter. They work in secret. They work in secret. Also, it talks about this in Micah, the 2nd chapter. So, in order for to do an Operation Sandman, would mean that all the banks which control these nations are in or have a consent together to destroy the economy and emerge with a universal economy for everyone. I hope this makes sense what I'm saying. All right, there ain't gonna be no Chinese yuan reserve currency. They don't have enough reach. And they don't have the structure to do that or the power to do that. What it would be is we're all going to take a coordinated effort, including the American banks and the Western European banks will be in on it too, to say let's get out of the dollar, create this chaos. We're going to get out of the dollar. We're going to create this chaos, and amongst the chaos, we're going to have this system that's going to replace it. We've been telling all the people that have been tuning in to Great Millstone about the MOTB and how it links with their digitized system that they want to bring. China's in on it, Russia's in on it, but it's different to have an economic policy and then to have a political policy. What's going to happen is they might agree that we're going to do this, but the spirit is going to still be put on these nations to fight. They feel like because they feel like they're getting the short end of the stick, so to speak. Okay, so this is how you're gonna see 10 when you read in Revelation the 17th chapter. Down at the bottom of that chapter, it talks about how the 10 horns are gonna hate the whore, because after everything is basically decoupled. Look at France. Their whole banking system is jacked, and their whole banking system has been jacked since 2008 and all the bailout money. Same thing with the Chinese banks. All of these banks that are linked in with these countries have taken out massive, massive loans. They're drenched in debt. All of them. All of them are drenched in debt. And to keep themselves relevant in the market, the Chinese government, because the Chinese government runs their economy, right? It's all linked. The Chinese government has been buying up United States treasuries to keep power in the US dollar. They want the US dollar to be strong. Why? Because that allows them to sell more of their goods and services to the West. Now, so if they want to get out of that, if they want to switch up out of that system and like rug pull, they know that they're ruining their own current banking system. They're ruining their own uh, real estate system. They're ruining their whole fiscal and monetary policy to do that. So, if they are going to do that, they're doing it purposefully to say, hey, let's go into this digital age. We feel like we have a good footing. Our technology is good. We're ready to transition into this new market of beast system. Hey, let's run it. And then you have this fake propaganda as if they don't work together economically. Like China and the United States is just such at odds. Now, politically, you can say that they are, when you look at the talking heads as far as presidents and congressmen and, ambassadors and administrators. But when you want to talk about the banks that actually run everything, nah, they know exactly what they want to do. And they're all of these uh, politicians who are going back and forth and saying this and saying that, they're being given their script from the higher ups, from the elite that run all that. Okay? So we have to understand this, man. You take down the US dollar, the whole world collapses as far as economics go. And it's going to send everything into a frenzy. And this is where the prophecies talk about Jacob's trouble, where we read about in Second Ezra, the 15th and 16th chapter, where people won't regard the princess. And this is what you're starting to see over in France. But France has a culture of rioting. So what you see in France, that's why the police are so kind of like, they blew up a police car. All right, there's a culture of rioting in France, but it is more escalated than it normally is. It is more escalated than it normally is, but there's a culture of rioting in France. You're gonna know is real is when the government starts shooting back. When the government starts, it's not just no tear gas, really popping people. That's when you know it's real. That's when you know, it's on. Okay. Yeah, I saw that about protests going on in Israel, the state of Israel, too. And we're going to start to see more and more of these riots go on in the developed countries. As these banks start to get more crunched out, as they continue to raise rates, as inflation continues to go up along with it, because they're never going to get it under control, as people start to lose more of their jobs, as pension funds begin to get decimated all around the world, more and more people are going to be out in the streets. We've been talking about this. The other European countries are it's like checking the pulse. They're the outliers. They're like the outlying veins and arteries of the global economy. And once you start to see Spain, Italy, France, when they start to ride and they let you know, okay, it's getting real. It's getting real. Okay? So I wouldn't be surprised in a few months you start seeing Spain rise, or you might start seeing Italian rise, or Greece. Greece might be before all of them. All of these little things are starting to let you know we're getting closer and closer and closer to something getting ready to pop. Okay? But there is not going to be, the Chinese yuan is going to be the reserve. No, 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 no. That's not what they don't have that. They ain't got it like that. It's going to have to transition into a basket of currencies that everybody agrees with, even the United States and the West. But politically, everybody gonna fight, which will lead to Armageddon. Economically, they're trying to do a universal MOTB, but you got a few at the top that know what's going on. And when you see these different presidents, you got to remember the president don't know everything. The president is given the script too. These people that sit on these congressmen, or they on the parliament, prime ministers, these different ambassadors and embassy people, they're still given the script too. They don't run the damn thing. Okay? Biden ain't running the damn thing. He goes up there, talks about what they tell him to talk about, and then he get his ass up off of there. Don't know if he walking right or left. So we have to understand that there's layers on layers of wickedness. Okay? And that the Most High is putting the spirit on these people to move around. But if China and Russia and the BRICS nations say, hey, we gonna in 142 nations, we gonna pull the rug on the United States dollar. Okay, do it. Everything will fall. The whole thing, everything is running off the United States and the West consumerism, the power of the dollar. And all of these nations pegged to that dollar is keeping things going. You got to realize that all these nations buy from China. And then China on the back end buys from all these other nations too. So they're getting the raw materials to make the goods. Okay, so what about all these African countries, all of these South American countries that have all these mines that give raw materials to China? What happens when the prices of goods is completely thrown off? What happens when iron ore goes from, I'm just making up a number, I don't know how much iron ore is, uh, you know, $50 a $50. Let's say this, $5,000 a ton, and then it shoots up because the markets are all out of whack to, the equivalent of uh, $130,000. Some I'm just making up numbers. What happens if with the prices of these things completely skyrocket, and then the other prices of stuff plummets? Everything that's pegged to the dollar will be out of whack. All the economies will be out of whack. The whole system will completely demolish itself if they wanted to do that. Meaning they would have to have a grand scheme, okay, to bring about a universal economic system that everybody can adopt easily. And the yuan and the yuan and the ruble don't have it like that. They don't got it like that. So when you see them talking about, oh, the US dollar is gonna go away, could they do that? Yeah, they could, but it would be at their own economic detriment unless they're ready for the MOTB system to be rolled out. And so when you see those type of things, basically they're talking about the MOTB. They're talking about the banks. Oh, China's going to take over the dollar. The banks are ready for the MOTB. China cannot take over the dollar because they've already laid down and went to bed with the dollar. Their whole economy is wrapped around the strength of the dollar. And if they ruin that relationship, like Apostle Rakah says, relationship, then their whole economy would go down because the prices of their goods and services would go through the roof and nobody would be able to afford their shit. Nobody will buy their stuff anymore because it would be too expensive, way too expensive. Okay, so this is what that's talking about. And when we look at these banks that are basically, um, they don't have all the deposits, and none of these banks have the deposits. Not even the biggest banks, they don't have the deposits. So that's all fake news too. Okay, they just want to get you used to the idea of we're the government. And if something happens, you can trust us. We'll secure your deposits, people. We got you. Okay? So now everybody's fleeing to the bigger banks to secure their deposits, or stimulus of securing their deposits, right? Meanwhile, in the background, they're saying, we got them. We're going to just flow them into this system now. We're just going to flow them into this overarching digital system that we want them to be in. Okay, they did a successful job of saying crypto is bad. Look at these. Look, Sam Bankman-Fried. Look at the price of Bitcoin. It fell. Look at FTX. Look at these centralized exchanges. They're failing. You can't trust crypto. You can't trust. We need to regulate it. Okay, even though a CBDC is not a cryptocurrency. It's two different things. But people don't know that. So they just lump it all together and say, you can't trust it, trust us. And so they're moving into these ideas and mindsets, gradually pushing people where they want them to go. Okay. So all of this is basically the update on what's going on. And what we're seeing in France is baby stuff. France ain't even got started. They always do this. What we're gonna when it starts to really hit these other European nations and they jump off, that's how we know it's serious. You got a place like Germany really jumping off, where people in the streets like that, where they burning shit down and then the police and everybody like that start shooting back, then we know it's a problem. But right now, when it comes to the United States dollar, look, you ain't ready for the yeah, it's too much debt. Everybody's tied to it. Everybody's systems were shut down. Okay, the prices of everything will have to be completely restructured. Okay, it will create massive chaos. If they ready for that massive chaos, then hey, hey, we are there. We're there. We're officially at the MOT. That's what's gonna roll out amongst massive, massive worldwide chaos. It will be worldwide chaos. Worldwide, overnight. It will be worldwide chaos instantaneously, not just in America, everywhere. Every economy will be destroyed. That's how sunken down everybody is into the abatya, the thick clay debt of the United States dollar. People don't understand how deep the tentacles that Esau has into this current system. You take that away, everything has to burn. And we say, call halal Yahweh Bashem Yahweh. Bring it, you know, because you got a lot of clickbait. These alternative media sites, they do a lot of clickbait. They tell you that Russia's getting nukes and this and that, so you just can click on it. But then when you read the article, they ain't talking about shit. If Russia wanted to do something with some nukes, they ain't gonna let you know. They ain't finna tell your rusty head ass Edomite, you ain't gonna know about it. Okay? If they really ready to pull the rug out on US dollar, these niggas on Dabu 7 ain't gonna fucking know. Okay? We know what Most High says is gonna happen. And it's in his time. Moves like that don't it ain't gonna be on with somebody looking at it all in the screen pointing and shit. Okay? It's gonna be it ain't gonna be no ruble doing nothing. So we know the Most High wants the MOTV system to roll out, and we're gonna see how it is, man. But y'all see I'm driving through this rain, man. Pray for me, and Lord willing, next time I'll come back with some articles and really break it down and through the spirit and power, y'all, Bashim Yahweh Shah, man. Appreciate all of y'all that jumped on and threw up scriptures. Hey, Shalom Prashad, the water for posting those scriptures. I saw you, bro. Gotta hit you up, man. But anyway, man, call halal Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah by Hashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutations to you, Aki. I'm out there pushing the word. The glory of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, sincerity and truth, man. Shalom.